I wasn't invited to the family trip. They said it was too expensive to pay for another seat. Later, my brother sent a Venmo request. $1,600, your share of the catering. I sent $1 with a note. For the air you'll be eating. Then I changed every password on the streaming accounts they'd been using since 2019. 40 minutes later, my sister texted, "Why is the TV asking me who I am?" I didn't even know they were planning a trip. I found out when my cousin posted a boomerang of my entire family, on a boat in Lake Tahoe. Mom, Dad, Ethan, Melanie, their kids, even Uncle Jack with his neck brace, grinning like this was the goddamn royal wedding. Everyone but me. I stared at the video for a full minute, trying to process what I was even looking at. I thought maybe it was from last year, maybe they were just reposting. Then I saw the timestamp. Posted an hour ago. Melanie tagged the location. Annual family trip. Annual? Since when? I called my mom. Straight up asked her why I wasn't invited. No preamble. Her answer? Well, Toby, it's not personal. We just couldn't afford an extra seat. The cabins only sleep a certain number, and you know how expensive flights are these days. Right. The extra seat. Like I'm an overweight suitcase no one wanted to check in. They flew in Dylan from Oregon. They brought Melanie's dog. I found out later they even got a private chef one night. But I was the budget breaker. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I didn't say anything. That's what really made them comfortable. They assumed I'd stay quiet, just like every time before when they left me out of decisions or acted like I was the family intern. The next morning, I got a Venmo request from Ethan. No explanation. Just $1,600, your share of the food. The food I didn't eat. From the trip I wasn't invited to. I stared at that request like it was a prank, like Ashton Kutcher was about to leap out from behind a potted plant. I sent him exactly $1. The note read, "For the air you'll breathe." Then I got to work. See, I pay for all the family's streaming services. Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Disney+, even Spotify Premium on a family plan. I don't mind helping out, but helping people who think I don't even qualify for a damn folding chair on vacation? Nah. I changed every password. Logged every device out. Activated two-factor authentication. Renamed the profiles. Ethan's became Enjoy the Silence. Melanie's? No shows for fake sisters. My parents was simply uninvited. It took less than an hour before the first ripple hit. Melanie texted me, "Why is the TV asking me who I am?" I didn't respond. 5 minutes later, a missed call from Dad. Then 2 from Ethan. Then total silence. Like they were regrouping. Trying to figure out if I was serious. I didn't expect what happened next. Melanie sent a screenshot to the wrong chat. It was supposed to go to Mom. Instead, she sent it to me. It was a new group chat. Titled, "Family Real One." I wasn't in it. All of them, Mom, Dad, Ethan, Melanie, cousins, even Uncle Rick, had created a group chat to plan everything, joke, share photos. A chat made specifically to leave me out. And they named it that. Real One. I didn't reply. I didn't even flinch. But I felt something inside me snap, quiet and permanent. Like the sound of a lock turning. They'd convinced themselves that I was just a side character in their lives. Useful when needed, invisible when not. And they thought I'd keep showing up, like I always did. They were wrong. And this time, I wasn't just going to disappear quietly. This time, I was going to take something back. They were still on their trip when I started. I wasn't going to wait for them to come home. Why should I? According to them, I wasn't part of the real family, anyway. First thing I did was cut the shared Costco membership. I paid for it, but my mom was the primary card holder. It took me 2 minutes to switch the account and get a new digital card under my name only. Then I checked my Amazon account. Sure enough, Ethan had been using my Prime for free delivery for years. I removed every address that wasn't mine, every payment method I didn't recognize, and switched the password to something long, ugly, and unguessable. Then I started making calls. I had been paying for their home security system too. The whole Nest setup? Mine. It was originally a gift I got my parents after a break-in 2 years ago. I called support and transferred ownership back to myself. They'd have to reinstall everything if they wanted it to work again. The most satisfying part was seeing them figure it out in real time. Melanie posted a story from the lake. It was just a dark screen with text over it. "Why is nothing working, LMFAO?" I knew exactly what that meant. I checked my inbox. Ethan had sent an email titled, "Seriously?" I didn't open it. But the one that really got me came 2 days later. Uncle Rick called me. He never calls me. He asked if I had a minute. Then he said, "Listen, Toby. I didn't know you weren't invited. None of us did. We just assumed you were coming later." I didn't say much. Just listened. Rick's a retired cop. Kind of the family's unofficial judge when drama breaks out. I've never been on his radar before. He said he confronted my dad about it, and my dad gave him the same story. Too expensive. Too many people. Had to make choices. But Rick wasn't buying it. He told me flat out, "You're not a choice. You're family." I let that sit for a second. Then Rick said something I didn't expect. He told me he was going to leave early, that he didn't feel right staying when he knew I was left out. Said it looked bad. Said it was bad. And he wasn't the only one. My cousin Jenna DM'd me the next morning. Same thing. She'd found out from Uncle Rick and was pissed. She said my parents had told everyone I'd opted out of the trip because I was too busy with work. That's what they went with. That I'd chosen not to go. They lied. And people were starting to notice. By the time they got home, the energy had shifted. Ethan was still furious. Melanie was trying to play peacekeeper. But my parents? They were quiet. Too quiet. I waited. I wanted to see how long it would take them to bring it up. They lasted 1 day. Then the doorbell rang. I opened it to find my dad standing there with a Tupperware container and a forced smile. "Leftover tri-tip from the trip," he said. I didn't take it. Just stood there, looking at him. He added, "We thought maybe we could talk." I told him to come back when he could tell me the real reason they left me out. He didn't argue. Just left the food on the porch and walked back to his car. I didn't bring it inside. I wasn't hungry. They came back from the trip pretending nothing had happened. Like the boat photos, the group chat, the streaming blackout, the call from Uncle Rick, none of it ever existed. My mom even called me that week and asked if I could come over and help her set up her new iPad. I said I was busy. She paused and said, "That's okay, maybe next week." Then she hung up before I could answer. Next week never came. But I wasn't done. Not even close. They still had their group chat. I couldn't see it, but Jenna sent me screenshots. They'd renamed it from Family Real 1 to Trip Chat, but the messages were still about me. "Melanie, do you think Toby's gonna try to ruin Christmas now?" "Ethan, he's too petty to even talk to us, but not petty enough to cancel Spotify apparently, LOL. My mom, let's just focus on staying positive. If he wants to isolate himself, that's his choice." My dad didn't write anything. But then again, he never does when it's his idea. He lets others explain for him. So I decided to test just how much they needed me. I went to the storage unit. It was in my name. Had been since 2021 when my parents were downsizing and begged me to help. Most of their holiday stuff, family heirlooms, old documents, everything they didn't want to throw out but couldn't keep in the garage, it was all there. I told them they could use the space for free. I went there on a Saturday, pulled out everything that was mine, and moved it to a new unit across town. Then I emailed the company and told them to terminate the rental at the end of the week. 3 days later, I got a voicemail from my mom, frantic. Something about needing the Halloween decorations for Melanie's party. The storage code wasn't working. Could I check? I didn't call back. The panic didn't stop there. The HOA emailed my dad. Apparently, I'd been the one paying the shared landscaping fee on their duplex for the last 8 months. They assumed he'd taken it over when I updated my billing info. He hadn't. The late fee came to $340. I paid it, then sent him the invoice. He Venmo'd me the money with the note, "Guess I owe you more than just a seat." Now they were starting to realize how much of the family's infrastructure I'd been propping up. Then came the real twist. Ethan posted a photo from the trip, one he hadn't shared before. Everyone at dinner, plates piled high, wine flowing. And at the edge of the frame, sitting where I probably would have been, was someone I didn't recognize. Some guy named Derek. A friend of Dylan's, apparently. Just a buddy who Wanted to get away for the weekend. They brought a stranger instead of me. I messaged Jenna. She confirmed it. Derek was on the boat, in the cabins, even tagged in a few private photos. My seat went to a stranger. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just stared at the screen and thought, they really thought this was okay. I screenshotted it and texted it to my mom. No words. Just the photo. 10 minutes later she replied, "It's not what it looks like." But it was. It was exactly what it looked like. They replaced me. And they thought I'd never notice. After I sent that photo of Derek to my mom, everything just stopped. No follow-up. No explanation. No panic text. Nothing. It was like they all held their breath at once and agreed not to exhale until I backed off. I didn't hear from anyone for 3 days. Then Ethan showed up at my apartment like a cop on a welfare check. He didn't call, didn't text, just buzzed my door and stood there, hands in his hoodie, looking like he was doing something noble. I let him in. Not because I wanted to talk, but because I wanted to see how far he was going to take the performance. He walked in like the place belonged to him, and stood there like he was inspecting damage. He didn't sit, didn't smile, just said, "Look, this got out of hand. Everyone's upset. We need to fix this." I leaned against the counter and said nothing. He started saying things like, "The family's in a weird place," and "Mom hasn't been sleeping," and "Dad's trying to hold it together." Then he dropped the line he probably thought was going to seal it. "Melanie's planning a dinner next week. Just the core family. No outsiders. No Derek. Core family." Like that made me laugh. I asked him a question he wasn't ready for. "Did you know about Derek before the trip?" He blinked. Swallowed. Said, "He was a last-minute addition. Dylan brought him. Nobody thought it would be a big deal." I said, "Nobody thought it would be a big deal to give my seat to a stranger?" He looked at the floor and said nothing. I told him I wasn't interested in sitting around a table pretending like this was a misunderstanding. I told him to go back and ask our parents this one question: why was it so easy to forget me? He left not long after that. Then came the flood. Apparently, after Ethan went back and relayed what happened, Melanie tried damage control in the group chat. Jenna sent me screenshots again. "Melanie, we tried to include him now, and he's still being difficult. Ethan, he's addicted to drama. He wants us to feel bad forever." And then my dad, finally breaking his silence. "It's not about feeling bad. It's about not being able to move forward with someone who holds a grudge like that." That's when Uncle Rick stepped in. He wrote, "This isn't about a grudge. It's about all of you pretending like nothing happened. You excluded him, lied about it, and replaced him. And now you want to punish him for not getting over it fast enough?" Silence for an hour after that. Then Jenna replied, "He didn't exclude himself. You did that for him. Don't spin it now." Suddenly, the real family group chat wasn't as real as they thought. People were peeling off. Uncle Lou told them they owed me more than a dinner invitation. And Marcy, who usually tries to avoid conflict like it's a contagious disease, said they needed to own the damage. The cracks were getting wider. That night, my phone buzzed with a message from a number not saved in my contacts. I almost didn't open it. It was a photo of my mom, standing outside my office building, holding a manila envelope. 5 minutes later, I got another buzz. This time from my front desk. She had left it there. Inside was a handwritten note and a check for $5,000. "Toby, this doesn't cover everything. But we know what we owe you. Not just the money. The space. The truth. Please consider it a beginning. 5,000. Not a round number. Not symbolic. Just exact." I knew what it was. Reimbursement. For all the years I covered streaming, storage, house fees, last-minute emergencies. They went through it. Tallied it up. And paid it. That wasn't an apology. That was a confession. And now, finally, they understood something. I was never the extra seat. I was the foundation. And they just realized how much it hurt to stand without it. The check sat on my counter for 8 days. $5,000. Clean, heavy silence printed in black ink. I didn't touch it. Not because I was deciding whether to forgive them, but because I wanted them to live with the weight. With the possibility that even paying back what they owed might not be enough. During those days, my phone stayed mostly quiet. Not entirely, though. Jenna kept texting me. Nothing dramatic, just little things, like, "You should have seen Uncle Rick after Ethan tried to lecture him about family loyalty." Or, "If it helps, Derek was super annoying. He brought his own travel seasoning and said our food was bland." That one made me laugh, actually. Then Melanie texted, "Just 2 words, coffee soon?" I ignored it at first. Then 2 days later, I gave her a time and place. Neutral ground. A little cafe that didn't serve anything with more than 4 ingredients. She showed up early, which already told me this wasn't about small talk. She looked tired. Like she'd been walking around with this weight for a while and wasn't sure where to set it down. She had her youngest with her, scribbling on a tablet and ignoring both of us. We ordered, sat, and for a while, no one said anything. Then she just let it out. Told me everything. About how the whole family had convinced themselves that I didn't like being around people, that I was the independent one, that I wouldn't have said yes even if they'd invited me. That Ethan said I was impossible to include without making things awkward. That Dad said, "It's not like he has kids. It's different." Then she looked me dead in the eye and said, "We let ourselves believe leaving you out was the kind option." I asked her if she believed that now. "No," she said. "Now I think it was the easiest option." I asked her who invited Derek. I was expecting her to blame Dylan again. That's when the first surprise hit. "It was Dad," she said. I blinked. "What?" He felt weird about leaving the seat empty. Thought it would be more efficient to use all the space. Dylan mentioned a friend, and Dad said yes. I told him it was a bad idea. But he didn't want to talk about it. I sat there stunned. My own dad made the call to fill my seat. It wasn't a last-minute mistake. It was a conscious, deliberate decision. I don't know why that hurt worse, but it did. Not just forgotten, replaced. With someone easier, someone quiet, someone unconnected. Melanie noticed my reaction and pulled something out of her purse. A small envelope. She slid it across the table. "It's not a check," she said. I opened it. Inside was a photo. A real, printed photo. One of the group dinner nights. Not the one I saw on Instagram. This one was different. Everyone was there, smiling. But Derek? He was off to the side, not even in frame fully. Just a shoulder and an elbow. My seat at the table was empty. They had set the table for 13. 13. I stared at it for a long time. "We told ourselves you weren't coming," she said. "But no one could sit in your seat." That did something. I won't pretend it fixed everything. But it changed the shape of the anger. It wasn't just about being excluded, it was about how scared they were of admitting they'd messed up. I asked her what the plan was now. What they actually wanted. Melanie said quietly, "Mom wants to cook. Just the family. No outsiders. She asked me to invite you. Properly. No tricks." That evening, I got a package delivered. No return label, but I knew the handwriting. My mom's. Inside was a key. No note. Just a single front door key to their house. A replacement for the one they took back last year when they thought I wouldn't notice. I hadn't noticed. Until now. That weekend, the group chat dinged. The real one. I'd been added back. First message was from my dad. "Family dinner next Saturday. No speeches. Just food. Seat's yours if you want it." I waited a full hour before replying. Then I wrote, "Don't burn the steak." Melanie replied with a clapping emoji. Ethan just said, "Mom's crying in the kitchen." I didn't say anything else. But later that night, I finally deposited the check. The number didn't matter. The gesture did. They knew now. I wasn't the extra seat. I was the reason the table ever felt full. I didn't tell anyone I was coming to the dinner. I let them stew in the uncertainty. Let them set the table, stare at the empty chair, and wonder if I'd show. And part of me honestly hadn't decided until I got in the car. The house looked the same, but something was different when I pulled up. Every light in the place was on. Overcompensating. As if brightness could cover what had gone dark between us. I walked up to the front door, paused for a second, then used the new key. It turned clean. No resistance. They hadn't changed the locks again. The smell hit first. Roast beef, garlic, rosemary. My mom's signature dinner when she wants to make things feel warm, controlled. I stepped in, and for a second, no one noticed. Then I heard chairs shift, quiet voices fade. Melanie was the first to meet my eyes. Then my mom. She looked like she'd been crying for hours and trying to pretend she hadn't. The table was set for 13 again. This time, no one tried to fill my seat. I sat down without saying anything. I didn't need to. Dinner was quiet at first. People were clearly walking on eggshells. Even the kids were subdued, like they'd been warned to behave or maybe just felt the tension in the air. About halfway through, my dad stood up with a glass of wine. I braced myself. He cleared his throat and said, "We're not doing speeches." Then he sat back down. That got a small laugh. Even I cracked a smile. We ate. We talked. Slowly, the room started to feel more like it used to. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. There was still a crack under the surface, like someone hadn't told the whole truth. After dessert, when people were getting up, Melanie pulled me aside and said, "There's something else you should know." I followed her out to the garage. She opened a cabinet near the back wall and pulled out a thin binder. It had my name on it. I didn't recognize it. "I found this in Dad's office. I think you should read it." I opened it and saw years' worth of receipts, emails, notes. All expenses. Things I had paid for. Stuff I didn't even remember, streaming accounts, holiday dinners, a plumbing bill from 2020, my parents' car registration. All tracked. All written in my dad's handwriting. It looked like he'd been documenting everything I did for them. Quietly. Like he'd been keeping score, but never said a word. "I think he always knew," Melanie said. "He just didn't know how to say thank you without feeling small." I closed the binder and walked back into the house with it under my arm. My dad was in the kitchen, drying a plate. I put the binder on the counter. "I saw it," I said. He nodded. Didn't say anything. Then he said, "You always showed up, Toby. Even when we didn't ask? Especially then." I should have said that before. I didn't respond right away. Then I asked him, "So why Derek?" He sighed. "Because I thought, maybe it wouldn't matter this time. Maybe you had outgrown us. I told myself you wouldn't even notice." That hit harder than I expected. Not just because it was pathetic, but because it was almost believable. Like they'd all convinced themselves I didn't care anymore. "Well, I noticed," I said. He nodded again. Then said something I never thought I'd hear. "I'm glad you made it hurt." There was nothing smug about it. Just the plain truth. Like he knew it had to happen. I didn't hug him. That would have been too much. But I did leave the binder on the counter when I went to grab my coat. Before I walked out, my mom handed me a full-wrapped plate. "I made extra. For tomorrow." It wasn't about the food. It was about having something to give me. At the door, I turned and said, "Keep the table set for 13. She smiled like she was about to cry again. Then she nodded. I left without looking back, because I knew this time the door would stay open. And no one else would be sitting in my seat.